Hey everybody, Tim here for today's review of Doctor Who, story number 248. Deep breath. I would try to do this video in one breath, like as a deep breath. I suck. I can only hold my breath for like 20 seconds. Like, I'm terrible at swimming. Anyway, so this is the first full episode with the new Doctor, Doctor number 12, Peter Capaldi, who's technically like Doctor number 14, which is technically Doctor number 1, whatever. Overall, I liked it. I really did. I'll just cut to the chase. I really, really enjoyed it. A lot goes on. Like, it's a long fucking episode. It's over an hour long. But I still really, really enjoyed it. Like, after seeing Peter Capaldi in the last episode where he's like, kidneys! New kidneys! To this, where he's more coherent, I loved it. This is technically Capaldi's third appearance in Doctor Who. I mean, the first, everybody knows because it was the Fires of Pompeii episode. And then he was also one of the main characters in the third season of Torchwood. He is also the only, at the moment, the only Doctor that I've actually met. Like, I have personally met Peter Capaldi at a Comic-Con convention. Got our picture taken and everything. It was great. So, overall, really liked the episode. It has Vastra, Ginny, and Strax in it. So, like, if I watch an episode and I'm like, oh, this episode's like a 6. Vastra, Ginny, and Strax show up, I'm like, it's a 7. Because they need their own show. It's fantastic. It also makes me a little bitter. Like, this episode makes me really sad. When we see the T-Rex, like, throw up the TARDIS. And I'm like, oh, here we go. And it's like, ooh, it's dinosaurs on a spaceship. Like, what's going to happen? And, like, Clara's like, oh, he regenerated. I don't know what's going on. Vastra has the line of, well, here we go again. That is directly taken from Lethbridge Stewart when who is it? It's the 4th Doctor into the 5th Doctor, I think. No, it's the 3rd Doctor into the 4th Doctor. And Lethbridge Stewart is like, well, here we go again. And 3 turns into 4. And I was like, oh, look at that. Classic reference. Like it. So we get that. And like I said, I was totally into this episode. And then when they killed the dinosaur, that's when I was like, what's happening? Like, why is this a thing right now? I have almost walked out of 2 movies in my life. One of them was the second Jurassic World movie, because we saw the Brontosaurus burn to death, and I was like, nope, let's leave. And my husband Jordan was like, let's just watch the movie. And I was like, we're watching dinosaurs burn to death. And when the T-Rex burned to death, I was like, oh, change the channel. Get out of this. But I didn't. I watched it, so I was like, whatever. So we get that. I loved it's almost Sherlockian. I don't know if that's a word or not. Where he's like figuring out the paper ad, and he's like, but if we look at the back of the paper, we'll see the ads match up. And I was like, ooh, look at that. It's fantastic. The whole villain being a robot / cyborg / android realistically means absolutely nothing. Like, this whole episode is more about character development and less about the villain. And it works. I'm okay with it. Because they're from, like, years and years ago. And he's like, we killed the dinosaur because I needed the eyeball. What? They do say Geronimo, which is fun. They have a throwaway line where, like, the cyborg comes from the Marie Antoinette, which is the sister ship of the Madame Pompadour, which, of course, goes back to the girl in the fireplace. But 12 is like, nope, don't remember that, and throws it away, which is funny, because that's a Moffat episode. I think that's my favorite Moffat episode of that season. So I was like, okay. They bring up the broom. So I love this. So, granted, I just watched, like, WandaVision stuff, but I already knew the ship of, Thedes? Where it's like, if you replace everything, is it still the same? And 12 fucking boils it down, where he's like, you got a broom, you replace the handle, okay, now you replace the bristles. Is it still the same broom? No, but it still sweeps. That's what matters. Yeah, I mean, the ship of Thedes is like, if you take a ship and you replace every single plank of wood, you replace everything on the ship, is it still the same ship? not really. But still, I loved how he just boiled it fucking down to, like, you got a handle and you got bristles. You replace them both. Same broom? Nope. So I like that. When they go into the TARDIS, Clara has the line of, "Oh, you've redecorated." I don't like it. First said by the 2nd Doctor, then said by the 11th Doctor, then said by the 10th Doctor, now said by Clara. This has been said 4 times in the history of Doctor Who that I can remember. I could be wrong. I don't know. We'll see. So we get that. And I love, like, Peter Capaldi's just so laid back. And he's like, "I have round things now. I used to have them a long time ago. I don't know where I put them, but now they're back." Which is a great reference to the 50th anniversary, where they're like, "Oh, the round things. I miss the round things. What are they? I don't know." So I loved that. We get a lot of talk about the woman in the shop, who is the same woman that gave Clara the Doctor's number so she could hire him to fix her Wi-Fi. Probably the same woman to replace the newspaper ad. And it's the first appearance of Missy. Now, I have the unfair advantage. This episode is like 10 years old at this point. The first time I ever watched it, it had already aired, so I already knew who Missy was. So I'm really curious. I want people to comment, like, who watched this as soon as it came on. Did you know who Missy was? Don't comment and be like, "I instantly knew who she was," and fake it. If you had guessed it, good. But how many people were like, "Nope, completely blindsided me"? I can't really comment. Like, I can't be like, I wouldn't have guessed it. Because by the time I had watched this, it was public knowledge. So it's unfair. I will say I do love the Matt Smith cameo, just because it's Matt Smith. He's so cute, he's so adorable, he's so funny. And it's a nice little segue. This is something that's never been done before. We've never really had a Doctor show up after he's regenerated. And it was a nice little, like, passing of the torch. And I loved Capaldi's speech afterwards, where he's like, "No, I'm not on the phone. I know who was on the phone. This is me. Look at me." Now, one of the reasons I love Peter Capaldi so much is, like I said, I started with the first Doctor that was old. Like, the Doctors have always been old. And once we got to Davison, that's when the Doctor went down in age. And go figure, like, Davison is my least favorite Doctor, the 5th Doctor. And as we kept going, like, I always see the Doctor as the Doctor, but 9, I was like, okay, 10, okay, 11, I love your personality, but okay. Capaldi is the first person that I actually see as the Doctor. I think the Doctor should always be a grandfather figure. So I absolutely loved his character, and I completely bought him as the Doctor. So I'm curious what people think of his first episode. Go ahead, let me know so we can talk about it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time for Into the Daleks.